So, what does all this mean? What are we doing? What's our purpose? What's going on here? What's this really about? Every one of you has answers to those questions. You may not trust your answers. You may be looking for other people to fill in the blanks, to help guide you through the mystery. You may be satisfied that you've already found the answer, or the answers. You may feel how lucky you are to have them, so sorry that nobody else does, or that half the population doesn't get it. You may be very smug in your awareness. You may be very fearful that you don't get it. It's a problem. You probably come here either because you think I have the answer, or that we all share in a truth that you wish everybody else knew. You may come here hoping to get it. So, there is no answer. There is no meaning. There is no truth. Nothing I can say will satisfy. And if it does, it will be temporary. The best I could say is you are the answer. You are whatever you decide you are. Life is whatever you figure it out to be, rightly or wrongly. It's the story you tell yourself. It's the answer you give yourself. And everybody has an answer. And everybody is right in their own terms, and everybody's wrong. I saw a movie last week, a couple weeks ago, called Room. And I'll bring it up because it reflects on what I'm talking about. It's about a mother and her son, and the little boy is born to her in a shack from which they cannot get out. It has a skylight and very, very small space. And the story is told through the eyes of the little boy, who has mythologized the world that he lives in the most beautiful way. He is so in love with the rusty pipes leading into the sink, the doorknobs, the light bulb, the skylight, the bed. He loves his life. He loves his mother, he loves the containment, he loves the security. And his mother's doing the best she can keep him joyful, and is herself terribly trapped, and I won't ruin the movie for you because it's a really terrific film. But it's basically the story of what happens beyond the room, and what it's like to see beyond the confine of the room that he is contained in, and we are all contained in. We live in a room. Our room has an appearance of being very spacious. Outside, inside, sky, sun, grass, other people. He didn't have all that. Although he did have television, which had its own universe for him. It was like fairy tale land. And we all have television. All of us. And it's also fairy tale land on some level. It keeps us engaged, entertained, distracted. It's a place to go when staring at the walls are no longer joyful. Spiritual awakening is seeing outside the walls of the room you live in. It's not always comfortable, but it's revelatory. You are seeing the vastness of being, and you are recognizing the smallness and the containment of your own space. It shatters your mythology. This little boy's mythology is so touching and so moving and so beautiful. And one is so fearful that it will get shattered. And yet shattered is something that happens to all of us, especially those in a spiritual path, because we all know we're living in a room and we all know it's not the whole story. And we all sort of know the myths are myths, even when they're biblical, Torah, Quran myths. They're stories that we've told ourselves to give us comfort in the room. And then we start to hear stories from people who've seen beyond the room. And we go, oh, that's a really interesting story. There's something beyond the room. And they start to tell us that it's full of light and joy and peace and beauty and color and stuff you couldn't even believe could exist. And we go, that's what I'm going to believe. And they tell you, until you get out of the room, sit still, go deep, 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 deep into yourself and envision that space. You will find something deep within you that will hint at, perhaps even release you into an experience of that larger space. And so we sit inside and we dive deep and we do start to find stuff. Those of you who've done meditation, those of you who've made the journey inward, have discovered, especially those of you who've entered your heart, that it is bigger than any space you can imagine. It's bigger than the room, it's bigger than your imagination of the universe. It is uncontainably vast. And you go in that room in yourself, the deep, deep room, and it's full of its own color, its own joy, its own beauty, its own truth. And you just know it's there. And you can come back from that space and you can tell tales of there is something in us that's so free and so beautiful and so lovely and so wonderful. And it starts to give you a way of living within the confinement of your room. There's also the experience of escape from the room itself in an outward sense. And it can be done in a sense by the inward journey, those of you who've touched the chakras and who've gotten into the base of your spine and Kundalini experience, can experience this blasting out of time-space continuum and find yourself in infinite vastness that looks very much like the inner space inside your heart. You can see that what we are is tiny, minuscule, compared to the vastness that surrounds us. And then some of you will realize that the vastness that surrounds you is you, that you are the totality. You are that which is. You are all there is. And you can get it by going out into the infinite reaches of space and time, and you can find it going deeply within yourself. And both are mirrors, if you will, of the other. Both reflect the truth of infinite and eternal vastness and smallness, being one with all there is. When you have done that, if you find this vast space within or this vast being without, that which still defines you will interpret it and say, this is what I saw. This is what I know. And you will immediately craft a new mythology around your vision. And you will come back and you will try to teach others, if you feel like being a teacher, what you saw and what you know. And that teaching will, for many people, become their mythology without having ever seen your truth. They will just go, oh, that's the truth. It's infinite and vast, and it's eternal, and it is beautiful, and it is wondrous. And you will go, all I want is to know that. All I want is to be that. And you can have one of two choices. One is to believe it to be true because this other person told it to you, or they will, the teacher, a good teacher, will point you to go there and find this for yourself. Go there. Go there. How do I get there? Almost everybody will tell you, sit still. Let go of the cognitive part of your brain. Settle in. Go deep. Enter your, I'll call them chakras, enter your heart chakra. Rudy's teacher Nityananda said, go into your heart and roam. Roam. Go into this space. Find the thing I call the portal for yourself. Find it for yourself. Do not take it on my word that it's there. Do not take it on Buddha's word that it's there, or Christ's word, or Muhammad's word. You have to find it for yourself. Everything outside you is directive, it's valuable, it helps you learn this, but don't clutch it because it's impermanent, it will not last, it will not hold up. Go deep inside and find this truth for yourself. When you come back from that truth, it is possible that you will become speechless because it is so hard to define it. It is so hard to give it meaning. It's so hard to give it value. But you know it because you know it. You know it to be true because there's nothing beyond it. Or if there is beyond it, there's no way to grasp that. All you can do is surrender to it, or if you will, be it. Be that which you are. Be it. One of the things you start to discover in trying to be it is that it is everything. and that everything is not excluding anything else. In other words, it's not just bliss, joy, light. It's a knowing of the vastness of duality, the vastness of creativity, the vastness of destruction, the vastness and the petite minusculeness of all that is. When you know that, and the person who knows it becomes overwhelmed by it, you become awake to it. You become enlightened. The little person is just almost evaporated by it, but it's not evaporated because it's still there. It's just dwindled by the vastness of it. You will start to see in that space who you are. And that who you are is. That's all you know. Period. You can't even say it is. All you can say is. Is means, there you go. Is, the verb is being. Being. And human being is a particular construct. Human being is what you are. And it means that there is still a part of you that is aware, analytical, engaged, part of, one with totality. As long as you are alive, you will have a need for insight, being, awareness, knowledge, truth. And the mind will keep exploring that, and the exploration of that is so fulfilling. So satisfying. But you have to understand that it's not devoid of character and quality. It incorporates a space that is empty, but it is also a space that is full. And that fullness is everything, and it is instructive, and you will start to feel, no longer as a person, but as the manifestation itself, you will feel what it is to be. And it is both the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing imaginable. But to whom is it terrifying? This part, the human part, the human being part, the impermanent part, the thing that is right now in a body sitting here listening, the thing that's still here knowing it's not going to be here forever, the thing that is impermanent, the thing that is manifested for this brief second. For what? For what? For what? Why did you do this? Why did you make this moment? Why did you find yourself born into this? Come up with your own answer. But you're here. And you're not here alone. You are temporarily here as a human being. Your supreme being, you can tell stories to yourself about supreme being, but your human being, which you know desperately from your sense of feeling and experience and history and storytelling, your human being has a very specific sense of this time and space. And it's very specific and very unique to you. It's yours. It's real. It's the thing you have. But is it the whole story? Well, of course not. It's a very tiny piece of a vast fabric of existence, and you are that. If you are only that, you will suffer dramatically. Being only that is to miss the outside, to miss the inside, to live only in that room that's going to be shattered. And that's scary. That's really scary. Once you have a vision of the vastness of your being and the sense of the infinite eternal nature of your being, it encompasses this tiny little human being in a way that's really profound. That human being no longer has to live in quite the same space of fear and stress and confusion. It knows something. But it has not in any way given up the biological fear of its own demise. And we live with that. And what happens when you expand and open and surrender to infinite space and time? You are the totality of that. One of the fascinating things about how we mirror as human beings the infinite is that the outer no more knows what it is than the inner. The vastness of being is also filled with fear and terror and destruction and creation and beauty and horror. It's all of that. It's all of that. And it doesn't know what it is either. It just is. It just is. So our tiny little ability or desire to get it is always foiled by the bigness of it, but we can't stop doing it. And why can't we stop doing it? Because something wants to know what it is. Something wants to know, what is this? And the only answer that keeps coming back every single time is, it's a mystery. Who knows? Who knows? There comes a moment in all of this where you truly surrender and you truly go, okay. When that happens, the vividness of the moment, of life, of this instant, shows itself in the most profound way, because it's all there is. When I sit with you, when I drink a glass of water, when I hug my grandchildren, when I take a walk outside, it is vividly real. It's vividly real because that's all there is. Is it cosmically all there is? I don't know. I think so. Is there more than this? Maybe. But this is what I know. I am. Isness is. And that's it. That's it. Here's the best part. I love it. I love it. I love you. I care about you. I care about what is. Desperately. I care about it. I suffer it. When I saw that little boy in this movie, it was a movie. It was a movie. My heart was breaking. Breaking. Why is it breaking? And it's a movie. Because there was truth in it, and I care. And my caring, the caring that has evolved here, is no longer a Bruce event. It is caring in the deepest, most profound, spiritual, cosmological sense. Something cares about you. Cares about you. And it's not Bruce. Bruce couldn't contain it. It just is. It's wildly caring. And its heart breaks. And it loves. And every moment of being is an act of love. It's an act of, wow. Always. Always. Even the most absurd nothingness. Even our car accident. I mean, whatever it is, the things that keep happening in life, it's like, all that this thing that's speaking to you wants is for you to know that. For you not to sit around and go, oh, what a boring day. Oh, God, what can I do? I need a drink. Whatever that thing is that's going on in somebody's life, the sadness of what's being missed is huge, huge. And I keep thinking the worst thing that happens is you lie on your deathbed and they finally pull the curtain away, they open the door to that room and show you everything that's always been there. And you see it for the first time and you realize it was always there. It was always there. I could always have seen it. It was always there. I could have seen it by removing the wall if I could, or just going deep inside and finding the portal to truth and infinity. But just to stay in that room, I mean, this little boy loved that space because his mother helped him to love it. She prepared him for the world beyond, and it was a wonderful teaching. But then he had to learn, and it's really interesting how that learning goes on. It goes on and on and on and on. The doors are bigger and further, and the walls are greater than you possibly can imagine. And every time you think you get it, new ones open up, new awarenesses. And you don't want to reach the end of your life and realize you never even looked through the crack in the door. You want to open this. You want to arrive at where you've always been. You want to see this for what it is, beyond the myth, beyond the story, beyond what people tell you it is. You want to really clear the air, clear your eyes, open yourself up and go, what's in front of you is miraculous. It is always miraculous. It's in front of you all the time. There's never a moment where you are not staring into the face of God, infinite truth, beauty, love, horror, genius, stupidity, whatever you want to call it. You're staring into the face of what is. You can make it mundane and minuscule and insignificant, or you can begin to step back and go, you're in the presence of the Holy of Holies, always. It's all I've got to tell you. I can't tell you the truth of it. I can't tell you how it happened, why it happened, what it means, what it's supposed to be, how we're supposed to engage it. I don't know. I don't know. I think love it. That's kind of a good teaching. But just be with it. I'll tell you an interesting thing. There's an old Nixonian term called the silent majority. The silent majority was the part of us, part of America, that didn't make itself known. It just voted. You kind of got it through the election cycle. They're talking. They're speaking by voting for Nixon or voting for Johnson or voting for whoever they're voting for in those days. But they were silent. Something interesting has happened. You've given all those people cell phones. You've given all those people the internet. They are no longer so silent. The silent majority is starting to speak loudly. Who is the silent majority? Well, I'm going to use a Jungian idea. They're your shadow. They're you. The part that you haven't heard before, the part you don't know, are starting to make themselves known. And you are either going, oh, finally, or oh, save me from that. You each have different reactions to the emergence of the silent majority, or the emergence of the shadow, the part of ourselves we're afraid of. The part of ourselves that's afraid of us is starting to make itself known. This is both terrifying and wonderful. It's a really interesting time that we're all alive in, because we're starting to see who we are. not just as a single entity, but as a collective entity. This is a very, very powerful thing, and it's going to result in, God knows, everything wonderful and terrible. Upheaval and hiddenness. The world is fragmenting at the same time as it's becoming bigger and more accessible. It's a remarkable time to be alive, and it's very, very much in conjunction with what we're doing here spiritually. As we allow the silent parts of our nature to announce themselves, as we start to hear our inner voices, as we start to know who we are, we're going to meet parts of ourselves we don't love, we don't care about, we wish weren't there. But what happens in spiritual surrender is what's called acceptance. And you learn how to embrace, embody, empathize with, care about, and experience compassion for the total being. This can bring about a world of extraordinary kindness and love and sharing, or not. But the opportunities in front of us from this isness, this what isness, is that we can start to have a new relationship to ourself on every level, internally and externally. And we can learn to do it by accepting in some profound way that which presents itself. That's our whole journey. It's to say yes, surrender, open, accept, embrace, care about what is. So here we are, looking for spiritual guidance, looking for truth, looking for how do I do it, what do I do, trying to create a story of I can arrive at pure bliss and endless awareness and consciousness and higher being. It's all story. It's all story. It's all great. It's all wonderful. None of it's true. The true is this. It is unnameable, unspeakable, absolute internal guidance and awareness that goes, aha, wow. So, this is a long talk about nothing. I'm trying to tell you, I can't give it. It cannot be given. And if people do give it to you and you do take it as truth, do know that it's fragile truth. It's temporary truth. It's fine, but in the end, there will be nothing to hold on to. So let go, surrender, relax, lay back, and let being be, because that's about all you can really do. Any questions? So interesting. I have a feeling each one of these classes gets rid of about 10 more people. It's like, that's not what I wanted to hear. That's not the thing I'm looking for. I totally get it. I totally get it. I got nothing to give you.
So I have a question about caring. And I feel that I stop myself from caring. Like I put up a wall. I did that a long time ago. I think because it was too hard to care so much, or it would require me to do too much.
Isn't that interesting that you immediately take caring and turn it into action?
I know, yeah.
Bless you. Yes, it can do that, but no way, unless you're Mother Teresa and will spend your entire life doing those things, caring is a state of being.
I do turn into action, but it's also, even when it has no action, like, it's hard for me to go to a movie where I'm going to care too much. So it's even on that level, just the act of caring, I don't know why.
I mean, I think I described this a few weeks ago, because I have to watch all these movies. I actually had to nominate, films for the Oscars, and they have me watch more movies than I want to watch, and there's still some I can't watch. They're just because it's the caring factor is it's so extraordinary that the only way you can watch some of these movies is not to fully care, because that's your protection. And most of us in life have that barrier. We go, it's only a movie. And then there's suddenly that it's only a thing that disappears, and it's like, it's not a movie. This is still part of the story of our existence, of our being. And it's so potent, and it's so painful, and it pulls at not only your personal heartstrings, but the heartstrings of the existence of being. They're deeply affected. And so the little human being goes, I can't do that. It's too much.
Is it like the fear of the consequences?
It's fear of how deep it takes you, how annihilating it is to care that much, to realize that you cannot save the whole world, that you're incompetent, you're incapable, you can only do what you can do, and it makes you so tiny on some level, and it's fearful for a lot of people. On the other hand, once you accept caring is presence, it's part of presence. And what you can do is be caring. Be caring for what is in front of you. You don't have to care for the whole world. Yes, I mean you can, but action, if you're inspired to action, if you're in the presence of that which causes action, that's what you should do. But mostly your caring and your presence will radiate out from where you are to the people you need to radiate to because they're around you, and that's really your function as a separate entity, to be caring, to be that which functions in the world. Again, if you're called to go out there and do stuff, wonderful. You know, there are people for whom that's really important, and the mission is there, and you can feel it rising up inside them, and there's no choice. But real caring, if we all did it, would alleviate many of the things that you have to care about. People would be kind and compassionate to one another. They would really help one another. There would be an extraordinary sense of generosity that would go everywhere, because caring and generosity are very easy once you have a really open heart. You just do it. You open yourself up and your life up, and you help people. You're charitable. All those qualities, they just flow. There's nothing in you trying to be that. And even if it's trying, better than not trying. But that stuff becomes a natural thing, which is why human life could be such a heavenly experience if everybody was on board with this. But for some reason, we're not. And for some reason, maybe there wouldn't be caring if there weren't people who needed to be cared for. So there's a kind of mixture in the universe that's absolutely essential to the way this all plays out. A story is that we're here to learn how to do that. That's a story. The meaning of life is to learn how to become open, loving, caring, available, generous, all those things. That's a story. It may be true. But it's a good story.
Don Juan and Carlos Castaneda, they talked about the Denagos of, old Mexico, whatever. They tried to actually fathom what they talked, the greater being as being intent. And I wonder, I guess it is, in the whole, and I don't even know if I have to guess, just being is great. But I guess on the whole, it is unknowable by anybody. But I guess I asked this last week, can higher powers for us be gleaned from what's going on?
There's a lot of gleaning. There's a lot of gleaning. Here's the truth. You only have your story. You have your story. You'll glean what you want to glean. You'll create your vision of the universe. That's what we all have done that. We create our own vision of the universe. And there's something working us. I don't care how awful your life is, how subsumed you are, consumed you are by minutiae and stupid things and, winning the Powerball or whatever it is that's kind of dominating your life. It's all part of one thrust, one big intent. What part of that intent are we? You know the answer to that. What part of the intent are you? What part of the intention? What motivates you to wake up in the morning, to get through the day? It's your story. It's the story you're telling yourself. What are you working for? Interestingly, when all of that stuff kind of falls away, you wake up in the morning the way you did when you were 2 years old.
You wake up going, a day. Huh. You know, my grandson wakes up and the first thing he lays eyes on is exciting. You know, whatever it is. And he just goes on all day long. Just excitement, excitement, excitement. Wow, 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 wow. You know, he has some difficult issues. He has trouble pooping, you know, and it's really causing him grief. But he loves his day. We could do that. I don't have any plans very much anymore. I wake up in my day and I go, not unlike my grandpa, my grandson, my grandpa too. I go, here we go. I get the day. I get a breakfast again. I get to drink water. I mean, all of that is there. You know, I have some things I have to do, more email than I like. You know, but I don't have what I used to have. I used to have to go to work, and I used to have to do a job and do all that stuff, you know, and most of you are still caught in that drama, and God knows it's, you know, I even enjoyed that. I mean, I didn't like all of it, but I loved much of it. My intent was make money, pay for my kids to go to school, enjoy my time, go to a movie, watch some TV, you know, have the family over. I mean, those were my intentions, and they were very easily satisfied. Very easily satisfied. But at the same time, I also had this ongoing, driving, burning need to get there. Spiritually. Get there. And I meditated every day, twice a day. I taught classes. I did everything working to get there. And then, as you all know, I discovered there was no there. The only place I ever got was here, and that I've always been here. And that I never was really here. Because I was always trying to get there. So I stopped trying to get there, and finally, I'm here. Done. And then I tried to just be here more, and you can't try to be here more, really. You just be here more. Just be here. And when you start to really be here, you realize this is a miracle. And you're in it. You're in it. There's nothing else to say. And it's a mysterious miracle that will never be less mysterious. And so you go, okay. And what can you say? You know, I don't know what to tell you beyond that. And if your miracle is really sad and difficult and struggling and full of pain, I got a lot of crap going on. You know, but you can make that the focal point of your life, or you can just go, this contains pain, discomfort, dinner parties you don't want to be at, all these different things all going on in the miracle of your existence. You just keep saying thank you. Trust me, the minute you stop fighting it, the miracle shows itself. The minute you stop saying no to it, or it should be otherwise, the minute the I starts to go away, then there's no battle. The battle's only when the I comes into play. Does the I come into play more often than you might like? Yeah, but then you realize the I comes into play. Hey, I'm the I. Now I'm the I. Now I'm infinite. Now I'm I. Bruce. And you watch the whole thing and you stop fighting. That's how it works. It just does what it does. And there's no you doing it. Even though it feels like you, it feels like you're suddenly obsessed with yourself and all your problems and your pains and your difficulties and your fears and your worries. You just go, that's part of human being. And you just go, yes. It's so simple. And everybody makes it so complex. And they also go, this is the right part and this is the wrong part. This is the good part, that's the bad part. Forget that. Who's deciding that? Who's making that decision? That's your story. That's your life. That's who you are. Everybody. That's who you are. You are the pattern, the tapestry that you've woven based on this is good and this is bad. And when you let go of that patterning, you just go, it is. It just is. And it's awakening to know that. It's liberating. Because you don't have to build the story anymore. It's the end of the story. The end of story. Just is.
You mentioned before, a part of your life, you say it's crap, you don't want to deal with it. Well, but that crap is also, it is what it is.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Yes, you don't want to deal with it.
Because you have created it yourself.
Absolutely. Well, yes and no. I mean, you've called it crap. You don't like that part. You've labeled it that. But also, the you that labels it that is still part of infinite yes. So that's the thing you come to. It's a constant enlarging of your level of acceptance of what is, so that it includes you. It includes all of your bullshit.
Yeah, but why do we go like it's crap, it's a judgment of something that we don't want to deal with, but we can also perceive it as something
Yes.
it is.
Yes. You can.
Maybe it's beautiful.
You can do both, or you can, or part of that either or is both and you just accept the totality of it as it is, and that I can say it changes everything, but it also changes nothing. That doesn't mean that thing goes away. The crap doesn't go away. You're just like, okay, yeah, and that's part of what liberation is about. You're no longer at war with what is. You are in what they call radical acceptance of what is. The totality of acceptance. It's a great thing. And to arrive at that is a beautiful thing. You're all about 1/10 of a millimeter away from it. You know, all you have to do is do it. You know, most teachers will tell you you're already there. It's just the patterning of your brain going around in a circle, but you're there. You know, you can't practice being. You're all A+ at being. Every one of you. You're doing it so well. It's just you're not enjoying it very much. That's a problem. It's not a problem. It's just what it is. I'm just saying you can enjoy it if you like. In fact, there's not even you to enjoy it. Enjoyment is what is. It's like that's how it is. So is this overwhelming the brain part of you? We can do this week by week, and we will get this thing circulating until something in you goes, I can't stand this anymore. I don't want to hear this anymore. And you get so disgusted, you finally let it go, and boom, there you are.
I think you just want to get out of it, but we don't let you.
There's a real truth to that.
Sorry.
You know, no, I mean, look, it tells me to show up. I show up. I don't have no need to show up. I've said it.
So do we.
That's exactly right. So as long as that happens, this will happen. When that's not happening, like I say, we'll all go to Pancake House or something. Have good pancakes. Okay, is that it? Thank you guys for coming. Next week we're in Los Angeles. The week after that we're here. It will be the 24th of January, which is Rudy's birthday. So we're going to buy, Rudy used to love these princess cakes that they happen to sell at United around the corner. So we're going to have a nice big marzipan birthday cake for Rudy, and those of you who are here can have a piece. And we will celebrate his birthday, which I do every year. And that'll be in 2 weeks. And then there are no classes for almost a month here. And then there will be at the end of February, we'll continue our normal process. Okay? Thank you, guys.